So when it comes to being successful when starting an online business, of course you need to understand the technical things that you're going to do with that particular online business, but you also need to make sure that you're applying the right habits to your personal life. And this is something that I had to learn on my own journey, because it wasn't too long ago that I was living in my mum's house, working a 9-to-5 job that I didn't like, struggling to pay for the basic necessities, to eventually starting an online business that enables me to travel the world to various different amazing locations, while still being able to make a profit from those online businesses even though I'm on holiday. So you need to make sure that you watch this whole video from start to finish without skipping. Otherwise, you may end up missing something that could potentially change your life. So as always, I don't want to waste any more time and I want to get right into it. So if you find any value in this video at any point, don't forget to press the like button. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the bell notification. Let's get right into it. All right, so jumping straight into one of the first things that I initially did before I started any online business is that I had to get my health in order. And the reason why this was important for me to do at the time is because I was overweight, and because I was overweight, it ended up having an effect on my confidence. And because I wasn't a confident person, I ended up not having the belief that I was going to be able to build a successful business. So one of the easiest things that I could do at the time to increase my confidence was to obviously work on my health. And I'm not necessarily saying that the journey was easy, because I had to find the right diet as well as the right exercise program that I could apply to my life on a daily basis that was going to be sustainable. And I stuck with that diet plan for about a year, and I was able to reduce my weight down by almost 6, maybe 7 stone. And ever since that period of my life, I ended up putting even more focus on my health, because as they say, health is wealth. So I ended up becoming vegan for about 6 years. I also work out 3 to 4 times a week. I try to do as much exercise as possible, because this is definitely one of the key things that you need to do to keep your mind in a state for you to grow your business to a high level. All right, so one of the next changes that I made in the early days before I started my first ever successful business is that I started reading books. Now, reading books is never something that I did outside of school. I always read the books that they told me to read for the exams that I was doing. Never once did I think about picking up a self-help book or a business book or anything like that up until the day that I left university. But once I started working a 9-to-5 job and I knew that I didn't really want to do it, I started researching ways that I can change my life. And one of the things that kept coming up was to read books. So that's exactly what I started doing. I went through so many different books that ended up teaching me so many different things that I started applying to one of my first ever online businesses. And I do have to admit that if it wasn't for me reading books, I wouldn't be in the position that I'm in today. Because one of the things that people don't realize about reading books is that you're able to essentially get a summarization of what the author wants you to know. So if you're able to get a book written by, let's say, Warren Buffett or Jeff Bezos or anything like that, you're essentially going to learn all of these different business skills, life skills that you can apply to your life straight away. Now, I know most of you are probably thinking, but Sam, which book should I start off with, and which book is the best one for me to read that's going to change my life? And that's a difficult question for me to answer, because it all depends on what position you're currently in on your own journey. But what I can do is go through the top 5 books that I initially read and I've read multiple different times that definitely was a game changer when it came to me getting to the point of making $30, $40, $50,000 every single month. So starting off with the first book, which is The Secret. So for those of you that don't know what this book is essentially about how we can use our mind to manifest what we want using the law of attraction. This is one of the first books that I read, and it essentially gave me the confidence to know that I've got the ability to move my life in any direction that I want to. So this is definitely a book that I would advise any beginner to read, especially if you're dealing with self-belief issues or anything like that. So moving on to the second book that I read, which is Rich Dad Poor Dad. I'm sure most of you have probably heard of this book and you know what it's about, but once I read this book, I realized that being an employee wasn't necessarily the best direction to go down. Because if you are an employee, essentially you're trading time for money, and that's not the best way to build wealth. So once I read this book, I realized that starting an online business or building some sort of asset that's going to be able to produce passive income is definitely the best way to go. So moving on to the third book, which is this one right here called Eat That Frog. Now, this book taught me the importance of time management and getting the most important task out of the way as soon as you wake up. But once I read this book, it definitely clarified what steps I need to take, how I need to think, and how I should organize my time in the best possible way so that I can increase my chances of success. And the next book that I read after that is this one over here called The 10X Rule. Now, this book taught me the importance of taking massive action and setting big, outrageous goals. And that the mistake that most people make in this day and age is that they set really small goals. And of course, that's something that you need to do when you first get started. But once you understand exactly how your online business works, that's the point where you now need to set really big goals, because you want to make sure that you're consistently putting in the effort to do something big rather than trying to accomplish something small. And moving on to the fifth and final book that I read at the time, and I probably read it over 10 times, is this one over here called The Science of Getting Rich. Now, from the title alone, I'm sure that you already know exactly what it's about. This book breaks down the practical steps that's necessary when it comes to building a profitable online business. And even though it was probably written over 100 years ago, a lot of the principles in this book are still applicable in today's world. So reading all of these different books and applying the lessons within these books to my life definitely put me on the path of financial freedom and allowed me to build my online business on solid foundations. Alright, so moving on to one of the next changes that I made in the early days that allows me to live life on my own terms with the online business that I've been able to build is that I made sure to replicate what was already working. And the reason why I thought it was important for me to let you guys know this is because when a beginner first decides to build an online business, one of the mistakes that they make is that they try and reinvent the wheel. Most people want to create a brand new business or a brand new product that's never existed before. And I'm not necessarily saying that that's a bad thing, because of course we wouldn't have the businesses that were built by people like Elon Musk, Jeff Bezos, Steve Jobs. But the point that I'm trying to make is that it's much easier to go down the path of replicating what's already working for someone. This is something that I did anyway with one of my first ever online businesses, which was an e-commerce business. I was able to come across a seller that was selling a particular product, and they were able to make between $500,000 to $1 million every single month in revenue. And because I was aware of that, I was able to now replicate exactly how they built their store in terms of the products that they were selling, in terms of the way that they branded their store, you know, the channels that they were selling on, whether it was eBay, Amazon, Shopify, whatever the case was. I was able to replicate exactly what they did to be successful, and that's what allowed me to start generating the money that I was able to generate in the early days. And this is something that I still do up until now. Whenever I decide to start a brand new online business, I try and make sure that it's already working for someone else. And if I can see that it is working for someone else, I know that it's going to be worth me putting my time, energy, and money into it. And just for the record, I'm not saying that you should outright copy exactly what they're doing, but what I am saying is that you should use them as a blueprint so that you know exactly what steps you need to take so that you can increase your chances of success. And this now brings me on to one of the final habits that I'm going to discuss in today's video that I applied to my life that changed my business. And I'm sure that if you apply it to your life too, it's going to definitely change your business, which is that you need to make sure that you work on your online business every single day. So in my opinion, I would say that one of the best business hacks that anyone can do is to make sure that they're doing something in their business every day to move the needle one step further. This is something that I didn't necessarily realize in the early days. I might work on my business, let's say on a Monday, maybe on a Wednesday, maybe on a Friday, and then the following Monday I might do something. But the moment that I started working on my business daily, it didn't need to be the biggest thing ever, but just something that would definitely move the needle forward even 1%. That's when I started to see a snowball effect of things gradually starting to happen. And because I'm aware of this fact that if you do something every single day, it's going to have a ripple effect, I try and apply it to everything that I'm trying to take serious. Like for example, with this YouTube channel, I've managed to upload a daily video without skipping ever since the 1st of January 2022. So that basically means I've uploaded more than 450, maybe 550 videos every single day. And this is something that I try and do with all of my different e-com stores too. I'm always looking for new winning products. I'm always contacting suppliers. I'm always checking my finances. I'm always trying to do something when it comes to moving my businesses forward. Now, if you're enjoying this video so far, don't forget to press the like button. I really appreciate that. Thank you so much. Don't forget to subscribe as well and hit the bell notification. And if you want to receive tips just like what you heard in today's video directly into your email inbox, then you can sign up for my completely free email newsletter by clicking the first link in the description down below. And if you also want to watch another YouTube video that I made not too long ago where I break down the 5 practical steps that you need to take when it comes to starting an online business as a complete beginner, then you can watch that video by clicking the link right there. Make sure you check that out straight after this one because it's already helped out so many people, and I'm sure that it's going to help you out too. Alright guys, I'll see you on the next one. Make sure you stay safe out there. Peace.